You know that feeling when payday hits? And somehow by the next week you're already wondering where it all went? But, here's the twist, I don't feel that anymore. Not because I make six figures, not because I hit the lottery, because I got frugal. And before you click away, this isn't about extreme couponing or washing Ziploc bags. I'm not here to tell you to give up your favorite coffee or wear socks with holes. What I am here to tell you is this. Frugality might be the most freeing, powerful, underestimated decision I've ever made. And it's probably not what you think. Okay, let's rewind a little. There was a time when I thought frugal people were just cheap, like painfully calculating, joyless, never-go-out types. The ones who turn their heat down to 58 degrees and eat oatmeal for every meal. I used to think, that's not for me. I want to enjoy my life. And that was the problem. I thought money and joy always came from spending. But here's what no one tells you. Most of us aren't actually enjoying what we spend money on. We're escaping. We're numbing. We're distracting ourselves from stress by buying something shiny that gives us a hit of dopamine for like 5 minutes. And I know this because I did it. I'd go out for dinner when I was feeling low. I'd order random things online just to feel some kind of excitement. I'd say yes to weekend plans even when I was broke because I didn't want to feel left out. And every time there was this crash. That quiet moment after the delivery showed up or the dinner ended or the concert was over, and I'd think that was fun. But now I'm broke again. Sound familiar? Frugality for me wasn't about cutting joy. It was about getting real about what joy actually is, and what it's not. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Frugality is not about doing less. It's about choosing better. When I started shifting into this mindset, it wasn't like I flipped a switch and became a spreadsheet-wielding budgeting ninja. It started with one question: why am I buying this? And that question hit me like a brick. Because most of the time, I didn't have a good answer. I was buying out of habit, emotion, FOMO. Not because the thing actually mattered to me. So I started testing myself. Like, if I saw something I wanted online, I wouldn't buy it right away. I'd give it 48 hours, just 2 days. If I still wanted it after that, cool. I'd consider it. But 90% of the time, I forgot about it by the next day. That little pause, that moment of friction, it started rewiring the way I interacted with money. And it wasn't just online shopping, it was how I ordered food, how I looked at subscriptions, how I handled nights out with friends. It was like I suddenly had this filter, something between me and the impulse. Not to restrict me, to protect me. Here's something I started doing early on that helped. I kept a joy list. Literally, just a note on my phone where I wrote down things that genuinely made me happy. Simple things, like walking in nature, deep convos with people I love, making a meal from scratch, reading with no distractions, and I'd look at that list anytime I felt that itch to spend. Because half the time, what I really needed wasn't a new gadget or another pair of shoes. What I needed was presence, connection, rest. And here's the best part. When you start living with intention like this, when you stop letting marketing and impulse run your bank account, something wild happens. You start stacking money without even trying. Like all those tiny decisions, not ordering food 3 times a week, canceling that gym membership you haven't used since January, buying 1 good pair of shoes instead of 3 mediocre ones. It starts to add up. But it's not just the money, it's the mental clarity that's priceless. You stop being afraid to check your bank account. You stop that low-key anxiety every time rent's due. You stop feeling like you're constantly playing catch-up. And that space, that peace of mind, that's what people really want when they say they want to be rich. I remember this one weekend when some friends planned a last-minute road trip. A few years ago, I would have panicked, either scrambling to make it work or bowing out because I couldn't afford it. But this time, I just said yes. No stress, no guilt. Because I'd built room into my life. That was the moment I realized, frugality doesn't take freedom away, it gives it to you. We live in a world that constantly tells you more is better, faster is better, newer is better. But frugality whispers something different. What if you already have enough? What if contentment is just a few mindful choices away? So yeah, I'm frugal, not because I hate spending, but because I love choosing. I love knowing where my money's going. I love spending on things that bring real joy, not just a quick hit of meh. And if you're still watching this, maybe something in you is ready to shift too. You don't need to become a budgeting guru overnight, you just need to ask better questions. Start small. Start with one change, one pause, one honest look at your spending. That's where it begins. You know what surprised me most once I started living more frugally? It wasn't the money I saved, it wasn't the peace of mind, it was this one unexpected side effect. I started to like myself more. That probably sounds weird, right? But let me explain. Before I made this shift, I was in this constant, low-key battle with myself. Every time I bought something I couldn't afford or made an impulse decision, I felt this little sting of regret. Nothing major, just enough to make me feel a little off. I justify it, of course. I deserve this. It's been a long week. Everyone else is doing it. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself. And the more I did it, the more out of control I felt. Not just with money, but in general. Like I was on this treadmill trying to keep up appearances, buying stuff I didn't really care about to keep from facing the deeper stuff. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of our spending has nothing to do with what we want, and everything to do with how we want to feel. We want to feel successful. We want to feel seen. We want to feel like we're doing okay. And because we live in a world where your worth is often measured in what you own, it's easy to start believing that spending equals self-esteem. New car equals I'm doing well. Designer clothes equals I'm respected. Nice apartment equals I've made it. But the craziest thing happens when you step back from all that. You start asking, who am I doing this for? Seriously. Whose approval was I trying to earn when I bought that overpriced jacket I barely wore? Whose validation was I chasing with that trip I couldn't afford, where I spent the whole time low-key stressed about money? It's wild how often we're performing for people who aren't even paying attention. Once I started embracing frugality, I stopped performing, I started living. I bought less, but I enjoyed what I had way more. I stopped needing new things to feel good, because slowly, I was building something stronger, self-trust. Every time I made a smart decision with money, even something as simple as cooking at home instead of ordering out, I felt more in control. And that's the magic nobody talks about. It's not about saving a few bucks here and there, it's about becoming the kind of person who can say no, who can wait, who doesn't need to keep up. That builds confidence like nothing else. There's this moment I'll never forget. I was walking through this fancy shopping district. I used to go there when I wanted to feel rich, like I belonged. I'd never actually buy anything, but I'd try stuff on, look at the price tags, mentally calculate if I could maybe, just maybe make it work if I cut back on groceries. But this time was different. I walked past the stores, looked at the displays, and felt nothing. Not emptiness, not desire, just peace. Because I knew I could buy something if I wanted to. I just didn't need to anymore. That's when I realized how far I'd come. Frugality had rewired my brain. And look, this didn't happen overnight. There were still moments I wanted to fall back into old habits. Still times I bought things I didn't need, just because I was bored or anxious or felt like I deserved a treat. But the difference was, I caught myself faster, I forgave myself quicker, and I kept moving forward. Frugality gave me space, not just financially but emotionally. I wasn't constantly chasing the next thing. And in that space, I started finding things I'd never noticed before, like how much joy I get from solving problems creatively, how satisfying it is to fix something instead of replace it, how much more I connect with people when we're not just bonding over what we bought, but who we are. That was another huge shift for me. Frugality deepened my relationships. When you're not focused on appearances or flexing or trying to prove anything, your friendships get real, fast. You stop going out just to spend money together. You start talking about life, dreams, goals. You start building something that lasts longer than a dinner tab. And honestly, those conversations, they've brought me more happiness than any impulse buy ever could. One of my closest friendships actually started because we both admitted we were trying to save money. Instead of going out, we started cooking together once a week, just hanging out. And somewhere between chopping vegetables and talking about finances, we built something real. I don't think that would have happened if I was still stuck in my old patterns. So no, being frugal isn't about being boring. It's about being intentional, and that intention leaks into everything. You stop settling, you stop chasing, you start asking better questions about everything from how you spend your money to how you spend your time to who you spend it with. That's what I want people to understand. This isn't about deprivation, it's about design. It's about choosing the life you actually want, not the one you've been sold. And once you start doing that, once you start cutting the noise and tuning into what really matters, your whole world shifts. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer surviving, you're building. You're not stuck in survival mode, jumping from paycheck to paycheck, stress to stress. You're free. Free to say no, free to say yes, free to live on your own terms. And that kind of freedom, that's what money's supposed to do for you, not impress people, not fill emotional voids, not prove anything, just give you the power to build a life you don't need to escape from. And that, to me, is the heart of frugality. It's not about what you don't spend, it's about what you finally get, once you stop chasing things that never really made you happy in the first place. So here we are. If you've made it this far, you're probably feeling something shift inside you. Maybe it's just curiosity. Maybe it's that quiet voice whispering, "What if I tried this?" And that's exactly where I was, not long ago. Not perfectly frugal, not a budgeting expert, just ready for something different. You don't need a massive overhaul to change your financial life. You don't need to cut everything, cancel all fun, or live on beans and rice. You just need to slow down enough to notice when you're spending out of habit, to notice when you're avoiding something, to notice what actually makes you feel good, and what just makes you feel numb. That's where frugality begins. Not in the bank account, but in your awareness. And look, I still spend. I still treat myself. I still love a good coffee, a spontaneous trip, a gift for someone I love. But here's the difference. Now, when I spend, it means something. It's not just dopamine. It's not just reacting to life. It's me, consciously choosing. And that's what I want for you. You deserve to feel empowered by your choices. You deserve to wake up without financial anxiety. You deserve to build a life that feels spacious, not one where you're constantly trying to stay ahead of the next bill. The truth is, we're all sold the same dream: success equals spending. Big house, fancy car, luxury lifestyle. But the people I admire most, the ones who seem genuinely content, grounded, happy, they're not the ones constantly upgrading everything. They're the ones who know what's enough. They're the ones who've mastered the art of choosing. And choosing, that's what frugality really is. It's not lack, it's alignment. It's you saying, I know what matters to me, and I'm not letting noise, pressure, or advertising tell me otherwise. And maybe the most powerful part of all this, it's contagious. The more you live this way, the more people around you notice. Your friends stop feeling like they have to keep up. Your family starts having different conversations. You start showing people that it's possible to live well, really well, without going broke in the process. That's leadership. That's impact. And let me be clear, frugality doesn't mean small dreams, it means big dreams that are built sustainably. It means creating a foundation strong enough to carry your goals for years to come. Because let's be real, what's the point of chasing your goals if your lifestyle keeps draining you? Frugality is about plugging the leaks, so you can actually hold on to the energy, the money, the focus you need to do something meaningful. So if you're wondering where to start, start here. Next time you reach for your card, pause. Ask yourself, why am I buying this? Not in a judgmental way, in a curious, loving way. Next time you feel the pressure to upgrade, to flex, to keep up, ask, who is this really for? And next time you feel bored or anxious or stressed, notice what you're craving, and ask if there's a deeper need underneath. Sometimes the thing we're trying to buy, it's just a stand-in for something else: rest, connection, confidence, peace. And here's the most freeing truth of all. You can give those things to yourself for free. You don't need another package on your doorstep. You need presence, intention, a little courage to say, I'm doing things differently now. So, yeah, I'm frugal. Not because I want to live small, but because I want to live deliberately. Because I'd rather build a life that's rich in meaning than one that just looks expensive. And if that resonates with you, if that little voice inside is nodding right now, you're already on your way. So here's your next step. Try one thing, one tiny change. Maybe it's pausing before a purchase. Maybe it's canceling a subscription you don't use. Maybe it's cooking at home tonight instead of ordering out, and noticing how good it feels to do something for yourself. Whatever it is, start small. Start now. Because the momentum builds fast. And before you know it, you're not just saving money. You're rewriting your story. You're becoming the kind of person who's not just reacting to life, but shaping it. And that's powerful. Thanks for hanging with me today. If this video sparked something in you, let me know. Drop a comment, share your thoughts. I'd love to hear your story. And if you want more real talk on money, mindset, and building a life that actually fits who you are, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more where this came from. Until next time, stay intentional, stay grounded, and never forget, you don't need more stuff. You just need more of you. See you in the next one.